So I hope we are all ready for today's session. Uh, Abdul, Jibril, Bashir, it's nice that you are back for the class. Uh, Firstly, what we covered yesterday, basically we covered the first block, 4 units, and the second block, some of the things were repeated in the first. Anybody has got any question, anything to ask, anything to say on that? Yeah. Anybody would like to say something? Okay. Nobody wants to say something? So what did you do yesterday? Yes. Yeah, good. Tell me. So what did we cover yesterday? Anybody would like to briefly remember?
Yeah. I can say something.
Sure.
Okay, yesterday we defined disaster and hazard. What I remember is a disaster. It is a disaster when it causes it causes something bad to the people. Otherwise, it's not a disaster. So we went further to describe the types of disasters and the examples. Yeah, just in brief. Yeah, that's what
Okay.
I can say.
Yeah, that's very nice. So we covered in disasters, basically two types of disasters are there. Uh, One was natural, one was man-made, and also various types of ways of looking at disasters, various ways of defining them. Uh, we classified them into five types also: geological, climatological, biological, like that. Yeah, and industrial accident, technological, or and then what are the natural disasters, or some of them we saw that also. So then about earthquakes, landslides, cyclones, we briefly discussed. So uh, any of you, I think you should have also read the your study material which has been given, relevant these units. Anybody went through your own study material? Abdullah Karim, could you go through them? Unmute yourself before talking. Abdullah Karim, your voice is not heard. Your 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 mic is off. You have to. Your mic is not on. No, I can't hear. Switch on your mic. Click on on your system. On your system, it is closed. So before talking, please switch on your mic. Turn on your mic. Yeah. Abdullah Karim, have you understood? You need to switch on your mic. No. I can't hear.
Sir, can you hear me now?
Yes, now you're on.
Sir, it's not enough.
It's now, yeah, now you say again, please. Uh, I can't hear you. Now your mic is on, but
Sir, you said my mic is on.
yes, yes, now I can hear.
Okay, sir, now you can hear me.
Yes.
Okay, sir. Sir, I need more explanation. I have a questions on earthquake. You see, yesterday
Did you
we were
read?
able,
Did you read the book about
sir,
earthquake?
sir, I didn't read the book, but based on the lecture that you delivered yesterday,
Hmm.
yes, sir, you mentioned some region on where earthquake do take place. So I have a questions on why is that most of the history of earthquake it occur in the Asian continent. Most of the earthquake that occur in the world, it occur in the Asian continent. Sir, I need to know the reason why is that so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, you will have to. We will cover it little later. There is one unit only on earthquakes. Then we will cover that. Okay. Because if we'll
Okay.
go into details of earthquake, how it comes, these platonic, tectonic plates are
Okay.
there geographically. So you have to
Okay.
understand a little bit on that. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
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 So,
Thank you, sir.
mm, but I will also request that I will encourage you to read the study material. It is very brief. So at least read, you will get a very good idea and you will also prepare for the course because then you can go systematically. Okay.
Okay. Okay,
Uh,
sir.
uh,
The next, sir, I'll do
yeah,
that.
I had covered this. I will be covering it in future, but today am planning as per our schedule to cover block 3, the typology of disasters.
Okay.
And today we are going to cover landslides and snow avalanche, fires and forest fires, industrial and technological disasters, and epidemics. You know,
Okay, sir.
so
Okay.
yeah, today this is our plan. Of course, we covered yesterday a little bit on the other these also, but I'll be covering those also in detail subsequently one of the days, surely. Hmm.
Okay.
Okay. So these are the four types, unit 9, 10, 11, and 12 we will cover today. 1, 2, 3, and 4 we had covered the first day. 5, 6, 7, and 8 was a repeat of the earlier unit, some of them. And here also like forest fire we had covered that date, some sort of. Hmm? Okay. Now, are you, uh, okay. So first unit is on landslides and snow avalanche. All of you have, yes, Abdul Karim, you switch off your mic when not using it. Okay. Otherwise, it will cause disturbance to everybody. Yeah, good. Thank you. So, what is landslides and snow avalanche? We had covered this very briefly, but today we little more detail we will cover. Yeah. Anybody who remembers landslide? What is it? Where it happens? We had covered. It happens on the mountain slopes. It's the mass of Earth which comes down. So that's a. So we had covered this that it refers downward sliding of huge quantities of land mass which occurs along steep slopes of hills or mountains and may be sudden or slow. We had seen that yesterday. And do you remember this? What it shows landslides are the downward movement of slope forming material. Now, this material it it includes natural rock, soil, artificial filling. When the some construction takes place on the hillside and some retaining walls, other things are filled on the mountain side to stop it from sliding, or a combination of all these materials. So this all this can be coming down the mountain. And how it comes down? Either it is falling, sliding, or flowing. So we had seen that also yesterday, that this mass would come in this. And the slope movement is the consequence of a complex field of forces, that is the stresses. There are stresses on these thing, instability becomes, and then they fall down, come down as a landslide. So if the moment occurs that the force shear stress exceeds the strength of the material, so it breaks and the mountain side comes down as a landslide. And now, what are the causes of landslides? So, so it is uh, usually related to instability. Causes instability in the slope of the mountain hillside, and usually possible to identify one or more landslide causes and one landslide trigger. Causes could be many, trigger is one. Trigger means something happens, the trigger is pulled, and the event takes place. So now causes could be geological, that is the material which is weathered due to uh, over ages, over time, the rocks and other things start breaking up, or sheared material, or jointed or fissured, adversely oriented discontinuities. They are not continuous, but there are cracks in between. Permeability contrast, material contrast, rainfall and snowfall, earthquakes, all these causes. Other is the morphological cause. That means it depends on the angle of the slope, uplift, rebound, fluvial erosion. Fluvial means flow, wave erosion due to waves, glacial erosion due to glacier, erosion of lateral material, subterranean erosion means below the surface, and slope loading. That means more load or weight comes on the slope, and then due to many causes, maybe artificial construction or maybe some other things, like some things come and they accumulate, soil from upper reaches come and accumulate, or rocks come, vegetation change, erosion. Then physical cause, that is the topography, tectonic activities, physical weathering. Weathering is uh, due to the freeze thaw, soil erosion, and hydrological factors. Hydrological means when water is flowing through there. Or human cause. Fourth cause is human. Geological, morphological, physical, and human. Human is deforestation, excavation, mining, quarrying. So that also excavating the mountainside for water management, groundwater drawdown and water leakage, land use, construction of roads, houses, vibration, mining, and quarrying due to various activities. So this is for landslide. So, so if you see this next, same thing, but now we are saying how it is happening. So it is earth flow, and landslides and subsidence. These are three types of things which take place. So, we just spoke of it. Now we are talking in detail. Earth flow will have solidification, creep, and rapid flow. Type of earth flow. It could be creeping, it could be rapid. Then landslides. Landslide could be debris slide or slump, rock slide, rock fall. In fact, rock fall is, if you see on the hillside, the rocks uh, you know, keep falling after some interval. It's not equal interval. Sometimes they fall, sometimes it stops, then little bit more. Some rock may come. And subsidence, when it settles down, the mud is flowing, basically plastic flow, or then there is a collapse. That's also the type of. Now let's see avalanche. Okay. So avalanche is what? See, you see these mountains, these are glaciers and high, very high mountains with snow-covered peaks, or all snow-covered with the huge snow. You can see the picture. So there, the avalanche, loose snow avalanche, wet loose snow avalanche, and slab avalanche. These are the types of avalanche which takes place. Landslide is of rocks and mud, and that type landslide is of um the snow, ice and snow, which has accumulated huge quantities on high mountains, always snow cover. So loose snow, they start at one point on the snow cover and grow into the shape of an inverted V. That means they keep piling up on top, and that's a loose snow. Then wet loose snow occurs in, so when the summers and spring, um, by the rain and the water which is melted, snow melting, so that lubricates the avalanche that moves. Slab avalanche, lee slope, leeward, that is towards the downward, so the sheer weight of the ice, it breaks the and then falls down into heavy storm. It could be due to slope, it could be storm, it could be high winds, very high wind. It could be from 20 mile per hour to 150 mile per hour winds, which are very high. So the four factors which lead, what we had just covered earlier, another way of looking at it, terrain, weather, snowpack, and humans are the avalanche triangle. So avalanche is one thing where actually, see, the population, there's no population or living there, but people passing through it, or some scientists working there, mountaineers. So they get trapped in the avalanche. So so there's a, now I will, now let us see in India, what are the regions and seasons in India prone to landslide and snow avalanche? So landslide occur in various mountain regions of India. Uh, I hope you can know a little bit about the geography or the map of India. It's a huge country. So there are Himalayas in the north, and on the western coast are the Western Ghats, and South India are the Nilgiri mountains. So here you will find landslides, and Himalayas you will find both landslides, and in the higher hills where there is a lot of snow throughout, with ice and glaciers throughout the year. So there you can have even landslides are more common during monsoons, rainy seasons. And snow avalanche occurs in Himalayas only because only snow is over at this place. Okay. Slow avalanche are more common during winters and spring. Whereas we saw earlier that landslides are common during springs and monsoons. Now, we have seen the different types of, just we are repeating it now, flow, fall, or topple type. You know, uh, then snow avalanches, dry snow, direct action type, and dry snow, delayed action. Direct action means it happens fast. Delayed means it builds up and then comes out. Okay. Now, what is the main causes of snow and avalanches? So, causes of landslide. What are the main cause of landslide? Because there's actually it is toppling of the earth because of instability, so which is caused by increase in mass of rock, soil, and other material, then breaking away of the rocks and soil over there, and increase in the tilt or the slope over there. Causes of snow avalanche, again large accumulation of snow is to be there. Then vibrations due to movement of person, animal, strong winds, or loud noise. Yes, this is very important for avalanche. Even noise or any vibration which is caused due to movement of people also can trigger a avalanche, because these are very unstable uh, s- ice, in fact, on the hillsides. Huge quantities of ice. Uh, the avalanche takes place over maybe a few kilometers, whereas a snow landslide may be a very small area, narrow area, 100 meters or so, maybe less. But so basically, avalanche is due to melting of upper layer of snow and seeping of the melt water under the snow mass. So it becomes loose, the ice becomes loose, and it shears, and the complete slab, very huge slab of ice comes down, and everything which comes in its way gets buried by a few meters, maybe 20, 30 meters deep, it gets buried. So now what are the risk reduction measures one can take? You know, this is a risk of landslides. So now risk control measures are measures that we can take for an area, for a place, is that you do hazard mapping, map these areas, and hazard zonations map. One is hazard mapping, one is zoning them. Then community education awareness for the people who are there, who are using this. So that also will be helpful. Then land use regulation, regulating the use by having laws and other place, how it can be used. Another, relocating vulnerable villages which are nearby, they can be moved out. Strengthening of the weak structures in the hills and all, sometimes retaining walls and things like that other are made. Plantations, forestation, all these will help. Creating adequate drainage also, proper drainage would also help. Okay. Now, risk assistance measures. One is monitoring and warning, very for all types of disaster, monitoring and warning is there. Then search and rescue. After something happens, people get trapped or affected, search and rescue. Medical aid is required. Damage assessment, how much damage, which who all affected. Then rehabilitation and reconstruction of the affected people. So now, what are the essential elements of preparedness to meet the hazard posed by landslide and slow avalanches? So you can say community education and awareness is very important. First thing. Then again, it's same question which we covered, but preparation of hazard zonation maps, relocating highly vulnerable settlements, strengthening of weak structures, and taking engineering actions such as removal of blockage and creating adequate drainage. Yeah. Then another thing you can look at is the direct and indirect effects and impacts of landslides and snow avalanche. Direct effects, physical damage. There is physical damage to infrastructure, to the people, to the roads, buildings, other things. Then injuries, deaths, loss of homes, other such losses. And indirect effect and long-term impact, loss of productivity in a scenario which is already poor. Naturally, these are very dangerous areas, so those people who are living there would generally be quite poor. And so, so after now that we have some idea on landslide and slow avalanche, uh, anybody has any questions so far?
Sir,
Yeah.
sir, my question is on snow avalanche. I need more explanation on snow avalanche.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Uh, I just covered what is snow avalanche. It is basically it will happen in high mountains which are always covered by snow and ice
Yes, sir.
over, it is not that it is snowing in winters only it is covered. So avalanche will come. These ice sheets which are always covering these mountains, they are maybe hundreds of meter thick. It's not few inches or few feet thick snow ice. These are hundreds of meter thick. Glaciers are there in that mountain. So there, these are slowly moving. Ice is very slowly moving, uh, moving very slowly. Glacier is a frozen river actually, which is maybe 1,000 meters deep, and it has a lot of other things. So there is water underneath that because of the huge pressure. Yeah, if you are not talking, please switch off your mic. Huh? That will be nice. Abdul Karim, yeah,
Sir?
don't be. Uh, Switch off your mic, otherwise the background noise is coming.
Okay, sir, I'm listening. I will switch it on.
When you talk, whoever is talking, you can switch on. Otherwise, it will be nice if you keep your mic off. It won't disturb them. But be part in the of them. So, uh, so because of the it heavy load and the weights start becoming more and more, so it the surf where it is joined somewhere it cracks, shears, so that shears away and it falls. So that becomes an avalanche. Okay. Now let's go to the next one, fire and forest fire. So major kinds of fire that we are covering here are coal, oil, building. These are the major kinds of fires. And then forest fires is something very different. So forest fires comes into natural disasters, whereas other types of fires, coal, oil, building fires, would come into man-made disasters. So let us see this. Um, Now, what are the hazards posed by fires in coal mines? You all know what is a coal mine? Yeah,
Coal mines is a place where coal is being extracted.
yeah, that's right. So
Yeah.
it is some mostly very deep. It's a tunnel under the ground, or it is a mine means it is a deep penetration into the ground digging. So it's a very dangerous place also. So coal mines have a lot of other problems can and happen there. So we can see to it that this would be a problem. So there are enormous amount of coal and which is important as we want energy. Coal is used for energy. So burning, and there could be an fire inside the coal mine, which will uh, it generates lot of gases and soot, also pollutes the atmosphere. And if there is a coal miners are trapped in the fire, it becomes a major disaster involving loss of lives. So that is again a very, you can say, a dangerous situation is created. Along with it, in coal mines, it can get flooded also. So that is another problems in types of disasters which come into. But now we are covering under fire, so we will restrict ourselves to this point so far. Now, next thing is oil fires. What do you understand by oil fire? You all know oil is there, it will catch fire, isn't it? So oil gets ignited when it is heated, when there is a lot of heat and no ventilation. So oil is an inflammable oil. So mostly it could be petroleum, petrol, diesel, kerosene, those type of oils also, or it could be other oils, industrial oils, or even in your homes, your cooking oil can get ignited and can burn. So oil fires spread quickly as the burning oil spreads out quickly or gets sprinkled on other substances. Then building fires. There could be, types of buildings which can be on fire because mostly either these are multi-storied buildings which can get fire. Fire is at one place, small fire, and it spreads to the whole. Or the houses are very closely located to each other. There's no gap. So again, they become. See, you remember, we are talking of disasters. We are not talking of one small accident or incident or event, very small event. We were talking about disasters. So that's why it will be when the whole huge multi-story building gets uh, it catches fire, or many houses which are closely related. This could be a group of houses. These could be shanties, big shanties, slums, areas. Also, they become dangerous. So, what are the materials in buildings that create fire hazard resistance? So, material which are hazardous to fire building in the buildings. So, there could be wood, plastic, and furnishings in houses, or kerosene oil, cooking gas cylinder, and chemicals or paint. It may be stored in godowns, in the commercial areas, factories, and electrical equipment due to short circuit mostly, but sometimes they have they get heated up, and the uh, material around it catches fire. So, now, most important is this, some sort of a precautions you should be able to take while uh, uh, to prevent fire. So, what you should do, keep the source of fire or source of ignition well separated. Fire and the ignition point should be separated from the combustible and inflammable material like the kerosene oil or other things. And keep the source of fire, source of ignition under watch and control. It shouldn't be under, uh, children can playing with it or other things like that. Then not to allow combustible inflammable material to pile up unnecessarily and to stock the same as per procedure recommended for safe storage. And safe practices to be adopted in factories, coal mines, oil stores, chemical plants, and even in your own kitchens, isn't it? Incorporate fire reducing and firefighting techniques and equipment. Then construction should be as per the rules, as per the laws, so that they are safe, fire resistant, has and like public places have different norms. You know, there are a lot of norms in an auditorium, a cinema hall. There should be proper exits. There should be, like that. So many other things also, and fire resistant material should be used so that it doesn't catch fire. Smoking should not be allowed. Then enough ventilation for air circulation. Then smoke detectors and fire sensors can be put. Then adequate water storage and firefighting material should and equipment should be kept. Training people for fighting fires before the professional firefighters can arrive. So the local people should be able to, those who are there. Uh, and in case of forest fires, volunteer teams are essential not only for fighting the fire but also to keep watch on the start of forest fires and to sound an alert. So these volunteers will prevent, even if there's a small fire, they can stop it so that it does not spread. Then firefighting drills are done frequently. All electrical equipment are earthed properly. Proper connections are there, and maintenance is there, and periodically inspected. Then all industrial activity that, especially involving fire hazards of any sort, are done away from the residential areas. Now, let's say, what precautions are for thatched roofs in the villages? You find some poor people, their huts are of thatch and all that catches fire very easily. Small spark also from there. They are using wood burning or coal, and that will be even worse. So their fire resistant sprays can be there, or retarding solutions are there which can be used in cases which is there. Yeah, this is a, if you see this, there was a case in India there on 25 December 1995. There was a school in in a place in South India, Kumbhakarn, where there was a big fire tragedy where 93 children were killed, and all were small children below 11 years. And we must, so, so almost 425 people perished, and so they when they were trying to escape from there also. Actually, the school, there was a ceremony, prize distribution ceremony being held. This is another case in 95 in Haryana, Dabwali, where 425 people were killed because there was a ceremony going on. So school fires, you know, are taking place. So just an example. Now let's see what is a forest fire. Now, forest fire, you know, everybody knows what is a forest fire? Fire in the forest, forest catch fire. Have you heard of it? Joy, have you ever heard of forest fires anywhere in the world? Yeah, please.
Okay, forest fire, a little explanation is maybe due to high temperature at the forest, or
My question
maybe.
was, have you heard of forest fires
Okay.
anywhere in the world? And
Oh,
if so, where all have you heard? Where all did they take place? These have been
I've not
in.
really, I've
Okay.
not really heard about.
Okay.
I don't have an example of
Okay.
that, but I
I
have
think
an idea.
if you follow the news during the hot summers times, many places around the world where there are a lot of forests. It happens in North America, in USA. It's been in news. Firefighters are there, California and other places. It happens in Australia also during the summer months. Some places it happens in it happens in many places where there are forests. If it happens in India also, small fires in the forests they keep taking place. Um, Due to the dry season, and forest has a lot of burning material, wood, grass, dried grass, leaves, so they catch fire. It happened in Indonesia. So many places in the world, major fires have also taken place. Okay. So now forest fires are of different classes. So most common is the surface fire and burns along the floor of the forest, moving slowly and killing or damaging trees. So surface fire, it will move along the from trees to trees and damaging them or killing them, burning them actually. Ground fire is usually started by lightning and burns on or below the forest floor. So surface fire or ground fire starts or surface fire is there. It moves along the surface and all. It keeps burning the trees. Then there is the it could be due to lightning also or burns on or below the forest. Then there are ground fires spreads rapidly by wind and move quickly by jumping along the tops of the tree. The crown of the tree, that is the top of the tree, is called the crown. So crown fire, the fire comes from top. So they spread from top to top. Although it will burn, come down also. And there the wind also increases this fire. And wild forest fires usually have a characteristics of dense smoke which travel miles. So that is also a cause of pollution also. But all so so this will give you more clearly causes of forest fire. There are five causes: natural, accidental, negligence, arson, and climate. So if you understand it, these would be explanatory. Natural, by some natural phenomena like lightning. Lightning falls and it uh, on the in the on the forest. The trees start burning and then it spreads. Accidental fire by sparks from the wheels of a train could be there. You know, railway line is passing through, or some such thing. Sparks, electric line is passing, there's sparks, short circuit, something happens. Then negligence by, say, cigarette stubs, somebody moving through the fire, or lights, or the matches are thrown, after lighting. So this happens. Arson is deliberate for profit seeking. So this is also done sometimes for some. people, mischievous people, or um, I've seen in India a lot of these hill slopes. The during summers the graziers, they sometimes they said they'll light the grass, put it on fire, so that when the monsoon or the rains come, there'll be good grass which will grow. The grass has dried, so they light it. One that can also the trees can catch fire and become a forest fire. And naturally, dry climate with high temperature will also cause. So, an example, if you see in Western Canada, over 50% of all forest fires are caused by lightning. Because whereas in Spain, the fire it's due to dry climate and high temperatures make it perceived to natural fires. It is estimated that 95% of fire stems from human activity, such as mishandling, cigarettes, campfire, unsatisfactory monitoring of blaze, and arson. So, what we said, human activity also, forest fires can start. Now, what is the impact of forest fire? Impact are disastrous and long term. Forests are huge areas, and there's considerable loss of life and property. Sometimes people get trapped in the forest fires, animals get trapped, uh, biodiversity is affected. Fire disfigures and disable the people naturally who get burnt. They'll be, if they are alive, they'll be in a very bad shape. Forest fires destroy valuable natural resources like trees, plants, wildlife, and destroy the biodiversity. So, after going through fires, let us go and see a little bit on the uh, technological, industrial, and technological disasters. So, now,
Sir,
yes,
sir, I have question on
yeah,
fire, forest fire.
yeah.
The type of fire that is occurring in USA, is it a surface fire or ground fire?
Which
Sir,
one?
I said the type of fire that is occurring in USA and Australia, is it a surface fire or ground fire?
It could be any. Yes. See, uh, basically, once the fire spreads huge amount, so whether it is surface or ground, I think surface and ground fire are same. Other one is the crown fire. Crown, that is top. But that is how it starts basically. So, um, one way is surface fire we can slight differentiate is there is lot of dry leaves and other things, and in very hot period when the sun is also hot and summers, so they start smoldering due to heat and the sun, and it becomes a very sharp, so little bit of smoldering, then it starts a fire. So that could be. Whereas another thing is that um somebody accidentally or by mischievously they light a fire over there. Campfire is there, so they abandoned that campfire. Somebody's camped or cigarette has thrown. So these are all ground fires. Whereas lightning falls, it will come from top. So it affects during summers, the trees are dry, leaves are dry. So it catches fire. During rains, the leaves and everything is wet and it is green, so it does not catch fire. So it lightning may also if it is dry. Okay, good. So now let's come to understanding the industrial and technological disasters. So now one example, very big example, has been of Bhopal in India, and this tragedy gas tragedy, Bhopal gas tragedy, is one of the world's worst industrial catastrophe and environmental disasters. It took place late in the night of December 2 3, between night of 2 and before the morning of 3. It took place in 1984 in Bhopal, Madhya Pradesh, India, at the Union Carbide India Limited UCIL pesticide plant. So, uh, you all know where it is? You have all heard of this Bhopal gas tragedy? Yeah. Do you know where is Bhopal? Anybody? Bashir?
No,
Yeah.
sir. No, no, sir. No,
Joy? No.
No,
You don't
sir.
no,
know?
sir.
I know it's in India, but I don't know. I don't know. I've not heard about the incident before, the disaster.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So this course, this CDM course is being run by whom? Who's the coordinator? She came just now, Dr. Smithy, isn't it? Your coordinator for the course from India. And this course is being coordinated from Bhopal. If you see the address on your emails, this IGNU center which is doing it, the regional center is at Bhopal. And Dr. Smriti is also well experienced in this Bhopal gas tragedy. So we can ask her when she comes to spend 2 minutes and give some idea. Would you like to know from her? In 1984, she was there. She's from this place also. And now this her office is also in Bhopal, from where this course is running. This is right in the center of the India. If you see the Indian map and the center you point out, it will be Bhopal. Okay. So okay, very nice. Just to relate it to our this thing, and so it was a huge tragedy. Lot of deaths, lot of effect, lot of long term effect. The effect is still going on the people. You just see 84, and it's almost 40 years now, and still going on. Okay. Yeah. Now, some key points. We had already seen this is something which we earlier broad categories of disaster, natural and man made. So, natural disasters are sometimes predictable but not avoidable, whereas man made disasters are avoidable but not predictable. Just see the opposite things for natural and man made. You man-made, you cannot predict. You can't know when the explosion will take place, when a fire will take place. But natural disasters, you can know that floods can take place at this time, or avalanche can take place only in a particular place, not in other places, isn't it? But fire can take place anywhere, or things like that. Industrial accident can take place anywhere. Okay. So in industrial uh, fires, we have two things, two terms actually. One is on site, one is off site. Actually, so factories, accidents in factories, these are termed on site and off site. Uh, it is all are happening in the industry, in the factory, let's say. Like the Bhopal gas fire, it happened in the uh, plant industry factory of the pesticide factory, isn't it? So, but what is on site? So, on site is the one where the it is restricted to that area, to that factory only, to that industrial unit only, and it is the disaster is fought, combated by the within the resources of that industry only. So, and it does not spread outside that factory. Whereas offsite is a much bigger uh, disaster, incident, accident, because it has repercussions more than that particular factory only. And it spreads from originally on-site to off-site, that is outside the industry's premises or location, and it requires resources much more because it doesn't have its own resources within it. So this is the difference between on-site and off-site. On-site means on the site, and off-site means it has gone from on-site usually to other places off the site. Now something more which is very important, it is all technologically or industrial, we can cover it under, is hazardous waste. These are toxic substances generated from hospital, industrial, and some types of household waste. So these chemical properties of these hazardous waste, you have all heard of hazardous waste. So this is anything which is toxic substance waste, which can biomedical waste is toxic. It can spread disease and other things. Industrial waste, pollution, water pollution. It has chemicals and other things which are, and household sometimes waste. So their characteristics, what all these have are, they have a flash point or ignitionability. These could be to determine how flammable a substance is. Another thing is the pH, to determine pH value is a to see its corrosivity, how corrosive and reactive is it. That is, when a particular pH is higher or lower, it is either acidic or alkaline chemically. You all have heard of pH? Anybody who has not heard? In chemistry, you would have studied about pH.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, good. So the pH side of it also determines if the higher pH or very low pH, it is very alkaline or very acidic. So
The
corrosivity is,
lower,
yeah,
the lower pH is indicating acidity of the environment, while the higher pH is indicating the basicity or alkalinity of the environment.
yeah, okay, yes.
Yeah.
Chemically, chemistry, that is the very chemistry of it. So reactivity then, so pH has to be, it determines the hazardness, the flash point. Flash point means actually flash point means temperature at which it catches fire. If a particular substance has a low flash point, so it will be more hazardous. Let's say if it catches fire at 30 degrees centigrade, like phosphorus, if it is kept, it catches fire in the room temperature. And some things catch fire at little heating only, like inflammable materials. Kerosene has a low flash point, they will catch fire. So they are hazardous, isn't it? And reactivity, to determine, so it can have a reactivity, whether a reaction or explosion reactivity. Explosives are very highly reactive naturally. They explode in with little bit of, say, pressure or heat. Then toxicity. Toxicity is something poisonous, to how toxic it is. So these are the things of a hazardous substance. to call a substance hazardous, or when a substance is hazardous. These are the things which are seen into it. Now, internationally, hazardous substances are marked. There are signs. Have you ever seen in, say, a, a tanker carrying hazardous material like petroleum tanker? You have all seen oil tankers carrying moving on the road. So there will be some marking on behind them to indicate, and like that on that vehicles. So or other places where the hazardous substance are stored, these are marked. So these are 9 types of markings which are there. So first is a flame. The diagram, picture of a flame is made. High risk catching fire like petrol. Then oxidizing, that is a flame over circle. So they react violently with others and can feed a fire like bleach. They can, because it will emit, release oxygen when it comes heated or something. Then explosive. So explosion is there, that sign of a flash is there. Then bracket it is given what is the sign. So fireworks and certain types of ammunition. Then gas under pressure, gas cylinder is made on that. So these are medical or scientific workplaces. And then toxic, anything which is toxic, there is a skull and crossbone sign is made. They pose more serious health risks. So swallowing them, ingestion, or coming into contact with them with bare skin can be fatal. Then serious long-term health hazard. So human silhouette with a white star shape. So human being silhouette, picture sort of is there with the white stars on his chest, shape sort of lighting type. It is their picture. So these has causes cancer, respiratory diseases, damage, uh, pregnant women with their unborn child, genetic defects. So it, like example could be like turpentine or certain oils which if they are swallowed. Then health hazards are there. An exclamation mark is put. This type of exclamation mark sign is there. And these are potential irritants or cause other health issues, drowsiness, respiratory problem. Corrosive substances burning hand and surface if you touch it. So there is a hand burning surface. So that flame sort of thing, that is the sign for corrosiveness. So they cause material damage as metal and severe injuries when they come into contact with someone, particularly the skin, eye. Environmental hazard. In that, the sign is of a dead fish and a tree, and down below is a dead fish. And this is attributable to substance pose significant damage to environment. Like for example, they are hazardous to aquatic life and have the potential of causing long-term harm. Like mercury poisoning of the fish, of the waters where the fish get poisoned with mercury, and when people eat them, they get toxic. They get all this uh, hazard is there. Created. So, so broadly, we have covered this. Let us briefly see epidemics. Okay, and then we'll come back again to all these topics. So now, what is an epidemic? Just to understand, I think you're all aware of epidemics because yesterday you only brought out the example which is affected almost everybody in this world. The pandemic is in fact more than an epidemic also. Uh, and this COVID-19 virus. So, epidemic refers to an increase, often sudden, in the number of cases of disease above what is normally expected in that population in that area. So, it is an increase in disease above the normal. So, outbreak carries the same definition of epidemic, but is often used for a more limited geographical area. So, outbreak is outbreak of a disease and epidemic. Outbreak may be in a particular area, small locality. Epidemic would be in a larger area of the same. Epidemics are commonly caused by a disease of infection or parasitic origin. It could be either due to infection. Infection could be mostly by virus, and or it could be parasite. Infectious diseases such as cholera, meningococcus, meningitis, typhoid, viral hemorrhagic fever, they pose threat to the community. Once this it becomes epidemic, then naturally the community or the population gets affected very soon. Epidemic concerns with the pattern of infection disease spread. An epidemic may occur when host immunity to either an established pathogen or newly emerging novel pathogen is suddenly reduced below that found in the endemic equilibrium and the transmission threshold is exceeded. So I think you would all be reading about these things nowadays for the last 2 years because of COVID. But pathogens are there so in within. So your uh, new novel pathogen immunity, all these things are they are in an equilibrium. So if the equilibrium is there, then the it exceeds. Now there are three types of epidemics. So common source outbreak, propagated or progressive epidemics, and mixed epidemics. So basically, either it is from a common source or propagated and progressive. So when a disease occurs in a population, epidemiologists help us to understand where the disease is coming from and who is most likely to impact. So epidemiologists are the doctors, the medical professionals who are specializing in epidemics. The information gathered can then be used to control the spread of disease and prevent further outbreaks. So this is general understanding. Yusuf, welcome. Hello, Yusuf Usman. You are there? You have joined? Can you hear us? Are you there? Yusuf Usman Santuraki. Okay. When you are able to communicate, or you can write a message, yes? No. Okay. So now epidemics have been going on for a long, long time in the human history. So the Black Death, bubonic plague, killed almost 33% entire population of Europe in 1347 and 1350. Just imagine. So it was worse than this COVID-19 corona epidemic. In 1343 years, it killed one third of the population of Europe. It also affected millions in Asia and North Africa. Scientists believe that the plague was a zoonotic disease caused by uh, Yersinia pestis bacterium and spread due to poor hygiene and fleas carried by rats. This is just to bring out that this has been existing since human history. Okay. Uh, we can take a 2 minutes break and then we will continue. Okay. Then we will continue same thing but in a different manner. I'll just take 2 minutes break.
Okay.
Yeah. Should we start? Hello. Yeah, let's
Yes.
restart. Okay, now I want to just share with you what all we should be, uh, how we should be studying these same things. I am covering you to introduce the topic, let's say, isn't it? But then uh, basically the books that have been given to you, you have all got. I hope you have all downloaded them, isn't it?
Yes, sir. We are downloading.
Yes.
So you should start reading them also. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sir.
Yes, that is most important. You are doing a course, and course would be helpful only if you start. You are able to read them. So you see, if you let's say you see this first unit that we are using, having on epidemics, this unit 12, isn't it? So if you go through it, you will find that these are very helpful to you to read also. It's very easy. You see, just see, in fact, very little is written. It has got headings. Now you see this on epidemics. So every unit starts with an introduction. It tells you what it is about. So in this, it gives you about the epidemics, then often occur in community, and you have to go through this. Now, meaning and type, here it is given. So this is important to understand why, how this term epidemic came, you know. So all these, what are the diseases which occur in this, and uh, health effects. So, and there could be health affecting lifestyles like smoking, drug addiction, health related events, accidents also fall into the title of epidemics. But we are in disasters, we are more concerned with communicable diseases. Then, so how does disease occur? These are the some of the terms for diseases, how they occur, that we need to understand. So you must look through these: agent, host, environment. How does, like, an environment is a set of conditions under which human beings live and can be defined as all that which is external to individual human host, living or non-living, and with which he is in constant interaction. So, because in this particular thing, this is very important to understand the epidemic aspect. Then you have the types of epidemics. So now, types of epidemics, if you see, the common source of epidemics, uh, point source or single exposure. Now, all these headings and the meaning under it are very important for us. Continuous or multiple exposure epidemics. Then second is propagated epidemics. So propagated are generally of infectious origin and result from person to person transmission. And so then there are seasonal epidemic, cyclic epidemic. Seasonal are during a particular season, they can be there, or after that, the epidemics of non-communicable diseases. So these are basically due to changing lifestyles and sedentary nature of our living. So these are like hypertension, heart diseases, things like that. Now, characteristics and causes are also there for our understanding the epidemics. Okay. We have covered in this thing, but here it is given very specifically in a systematic manner in which you are expected to read, and then you will be able to see. Along with them, there are also questions and answers which are covering these. So you will have temporary, like, uh, causes of epidemics. So temporary population settlements, there they are there. Then pre-existent diseases in a population. You have ecological changes, resistance to potential. Yeah. Uh, Yeah, Arif, anything you are asking? Okay. So you have to go through all these. See, wherever these headings are given, they are very important. And those you must learn because the questions will come on these and you have to answer in your own words, not copy it from here. So, ecological changes, resistance potential of the eye host. So, that is the nutritional and immunization status of the population. Also makes a lot of change. Then, if you see further, now if you see this thing, there are these questions are there. So try to answer these. If you can't answer, then you have to go back and read again. It gives you how much you have been able to prepare. And the answers or the some hint answers are in the end of the unit. Vulnerability to the epidemics or health problems, people will have more vulnerability. So if you can see this, vulnerability. So every disaster, the vulnerability is an important aspect. Safety measures, and after that, in every disaster, you must understand that. So, so safety measures in this particular epidemic cases. One is predictability, and others are, you know, yeah, Jibril Mohammed. Yeah, okay. Nothing. Improvement of immunity to host, community health education, training. All these are part of the we were mentioning about the um, epidemics and the safety measures. This is a very important aspect. The effects. So you have direct effects of epidemics and indirect effect. Direct effects are that large number of people are affected and complications, including disabilities and death. In fact, in this coronavirus, COVID-19, a lot of this has been noted. So there's always sufficient number of disease carriers and resurgence and spread of disease could be there. And the of so much of suffering and deaths within the close pe- of people, there are other psychological impact of these also. Now indirect would be social political disruptions. I think this we all saw it now. Economic loss, again, scarcity of clean food and water, and worsening of already poor sanitary conditions. This also was aggravated in the COVID-19 pandemic. These questions which are there, you must uh, go through them and try to answer them in your own time, in your own words. And another very important aspect is the summing up. That's the concluding part. You will see that what they are covered. Have you understood then? And then go through the key words. These have been written again for you to words which have been used and important communicable disease, what it is, endemicity, epidemiology, psychosomatic, now in this particular case. So now that you know about the understanding the main things about are how to go through the uh, uh, let's say the books. So uh, can you open your books now? Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. If you open, let's say which ones we can, which we studied, and one of them you can cover. What do you want to cover? I'll show you how to cover that. Let's
Unit
see.
12.
Unit 11, Industrial and Technological Disasters. Would you like to go through that?
Yes, we
Huh?
can go.
Okay. So just open in your own computers and have a look at it, because no one has confirmed so far that
Yes.
you have been started reading the book. So I want you to start that. See, if you read the book, come tomorrow, ask me a question. That will be much more useful to you. Isn't
Okay,
it? Here
okay,
we are here to advise you. I can't go through each and every topic in this limited time. These are uh, self-learning material. You should be able to. Okay. So you have opened it.
okay. So by tomorrow, we'll ask some question about Unit 11 when we
No,
go
no.
through
Just
the.
now open it and let's have a look. Okay. Um, why tomorrow? Whatever you want to do it today. Who has seen tomorrow? So let us have a look at.
We've opened. So should we read loud or we just scroll through?
Okay, I will ask you questions. You open it. So I will tell you. See, first thing is you see the objectives. So in the objectives, it is given like here meaning and concept. First thing. And next thing, and the types. Then is characteristics and causes. Then typical effects and safety precautions. Now, these 4 5 points you have to understand when you are reading, and so now just keep it in the back of your mind that these 5 points you are going to uh, understand. If you see these are there in the introduction, that is what the introduction is meant for. So after that, uh, in this case you see you read means in the objectives this is given, so you should attain these objectives when you finish reading. So if you are not attained, then you go back and learn. So now introduction gives you some important things also. Here it is given. So what are natural disasters, and what are man-made disasters? So here it gives heavy rain. Some are predictable, some are not. Heavy rains, floods. So you should know. I think you already know what are uh, natural disasters. So natural disaster, important point is some are predictable, some are not, and which are the natural ones. So go through it, so you'll come to know. But then second point here is given man-made disasters. These are avoidable but not predictable. See the opposite of that. So so these are unintentional or inadvertent. So because of poor maintenance, low quality work, human error. Willful and intentional. It can be willful and intentional also. First was unintentional, second is intentional. So these are sabotage, mischief, revenge, riots, mob furies, enemy attacks. So these are intentional. Industrial and technological, mostly system process malfunction, industrial or factories and other places. So it could be nuclear radiation, gas leak, explosion and fire. Now next thing is we go on the meaning and concept. Here it is given. So on-site and off-site are the two main things in this. So concept of on-site and off-site. So we covered it, but here you will come in detail. Then there are questions. Now you do these questions. If you are not able to understand, then you should go back and read again. So what are the two main categories of disasters and their principal
Sir,
distinguishing? Yeah,
sir, please, I could not find those topics under Unit 11, the industrial disaster and the rest. I saw a different topic there, so I couldn't really see it.
you don't have what is the topic? What is the topic of the unit 11?
I saw, let me check again.
No, you open it in your computer in front of you. Actually, it's good that I brought it out so that now you can open and see and understand what it is. And if you are not able to find it, then let's see what we can do. We can help you. All of you have opened this, I hope, unit. Anybody who say yes, opened, not opened, please write it on the text box. There's a text box you can write there.
Yes, open.
Yeah. Okay. So who has not done? Lay
I
you
saw
yeah, Joy.
disaster preparedness plan. I saw disaster preparedness plan there. I didn't see industrial disaster there.
In unit 11.
Yes, sir.
Why? Means can you share it on the screen? You know how to share? Like I am showing. Down below there's an arrow.
No, sir.
There's a arrow down below on the bar. Third from the right, there's an upward arrow. You press your cursor on that. So you are presenting. Say allow presenting. Hmm? Are you able to get it?
I think you should open from the blocks under foundation, because I think the topic she's talking about, it's coming from the disaster management plan,
No.
not the foundation. Yeah.
Okay, you are having a different. So how do we help you? Okay. I hope you have not downloaded some other. Your units are correct. What you have downloaded, are they on CDM?
Hello, I'm sharing the screen. Is this showing?
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
I think this is what we are. This is
Yeah,
unit
you're
11.
right. Yours is correct. I can see that. Yeah, that's right.
This is meaning and concepts.
Ah, this is the correct one.
Yeah.
You all have got this one or not? He's got it. Uh,
I've got it.
is the same?
Yes.
Okay, then you're right. There's no problem then. Fine. Yeah, he's sharing it.
Yes,
Then,
it's the same.
yeah. So this is what I mean that please open it, check it, and then you have to, yeah, very nice. Yes, I can see it here. Um, so these are what, see, whatever is given in that I am covering. So start from that. Read through little bit, 2, 3 pages when you read. And in each page, actually, it's only less than half a page of printed matter. If you look at it, it's a very, so you come to the questions after 2, 3 pages, and then you try to answer the questions. If you don't understand, go back and see. And then in the end, go to the terms glossary which is given. After you finish this reading questions, go to the terms and the glossary or the words, keywords. You see you have understood. If you have not, because they are very important. And then you in the after you finish, go back again to the first part, that is the objective, and see those points which you saw. Have you been able to understand? Isn't it? So if you come prepared with these type of things, I think we can have a uh, more fruitful. You will have more this thing in our understanding of disasters. And so, so you are now able to. I hope you will all today read them, your books, isn't it? So
Yes, sir.
um, then tomorrow we can do the next block. Will that be okay? Block.
Yeah, it's okay. It's
Yeah.
okay with
No,
us.
but please come prepared because I want you to talk and understand. Then only I'll come to know that you have understood.
Okay.
And tomorrow's blog is very interesting. It's on planning, Unit 13. Unit 14 is on communication. Unit 15 is on leadership and coordination. And Unit 16 is on warehousing and stockpiling. Now, all these are also very important. So, we had covered on the first day the first block, the foundation course in disaster management. Uh, it has only about 10, 11 pages, so you can say about 2, 3 pages to read, 4 pages maybe. And there you have definitions of disaster. You had, in the first unit. In the second unit, we had covered understanding disasters, causes and effects was there. So we spoke of geological disasters, climatic disasters, environmental disasters, epidemics, industrial and technological accident. Now, all these are separate units. Today we have covered the environmental, epidemic, and no epidemic, industrial, technological, and geological is basically in block 2. So then unit 3 in block 1 we had covered was the global view of disasters. I've shown you some maps where they had come, and next unit was the regional view, disaster profile of India, regional, seasonal. Now, if you go through these, you don't understand, you ask me. Okay. But if you don't go only, then our sessions will finish and I have not be available for you to understand these. Then block 2 covers earthquake in detail. So I think we have got a little time left. So out of earthquake, sixth is flood, um, seventh is cyclone, and eighth is drought and famine. So I hope you'll be able to understand these. Yeah, you had a question on uh, earthquake, or isn't it? Somebody had a question on earthquake. Okay, so let us see this on earthquake, what all it is there for 5-10 minutes, and we can repeat that.
Yeah,
Yeah, this is unit 5, earthquake. So you have all got, you can see this. So you should be able to describe an earthquake, then understand general characteristics of earthquake, instrument and non-instrumental percussors. So, and under vulnerability. Now, vulnerability is a part for all disasters you have to understand. Then the impact of earthquake and nature of damage also we can is a thing. Uh, so, so if we see here, um, you can also open your this open it in your computer. So it gives earthquake defined as a natural phenomena which tends to create panic due to the trembling, vibration, or sudden undulation of a portion of Earth's crust, caused by splitting of a mass of rock, tectonic. Tectonic is a mass of rock, or by volcanic or other disturbances. So this is it gives you the earthquake. Then you can understand the characteristics of the earthquake. Sudden, with little or no warning. That is first thing. Then there are aftershocks, and these may be preceded by some lesser intense uh, tremors, or which are also called foreshocks. They may be preceded. That means preceded means before the earthquake there could be tremors or foreshocks, and after the earthquake again there could be. So basic characteristics of earthquake are: it is not yet possible to predict them. They are sudden, and earthquake prone areas are generally well identified and well known on the basis of yeah. So scientists they have already mapped the places, because how do you predict a place is earthquake prone or not? Anybody? It's given here, are generally well identified and well known on the basis of geological features and past occurrences of earthquake. So basically, the historical data gives you. So you find that wherever the earthquake has come in that area, again and again it comes. Yeah, all disasters they have a return period. They can come every year annually. They can come once in 5 years, once in 10 years, once in 20 years, once in 25 years, once in 50 years, once in 100 years. Or the magnitude of that is of which is a, say, if there's a flood magnitude. So you can say every year the flood comes at this level minimum in a place, you know, because then sometimes the floods are more. So you can say once in a 5 year, the flood level can be more than this much, or once in a 10 years. So this is now historical data you are collecting. Once in a 50 years and once in a 100 year. So once in a 100 year is a very remote possibility of a disaster. So whether it's earthquake, uh, floods, earthquake can't be, but floods, yes, you can say. So when you are planning for the use of that area, what happens when the flood comes? The water, the covers more and more of the area of the land. So you have to do the planning accordingly of the land, use of the land. Land zonation is done, flood zonation. So we say maps. So maps are made that okay, this much water will come every year. So you don't do any activity there. Only when during no flood season, then some activity is allowed, like you can plant something, some crops or something. But if an area is once in a 10 year, you can make a playing field, hockey field, football, soccer field, and you can play, proper field. Of course, in if there's no water and it's a floodplain, you can play there, children informally, but then you can have some places so that if it comes, but you won't make buildings or something. But yeah, once in 50 years area, you may make some unimportant fictive temporary structures could be there, or which are used, and which are there once in a 100 year area. You can leave it free so that beyond that you can make important buildings, costly buildings. You don't make it in danger zone. So this is zoning. Similarly, earthquakes also features. Uh, what happens for earthquakes? I'll tell you when we come here in this. So effects of earthquake from ground movement on fractures or slippage. So we spoke of it. This is, you have to study geography in detail to understand more about this thing. But if you look at the earth is round, top part is crushed, inside is molten still. A few kilometers deep, if you go down, you will find maybe 50 kilometers or much more down, 100 kilometers. The earth, or 1,000 kilometers, you will find center of the earth is molten. In between, there could be huge continental size rocks. So they are floating on that. They are moving also. So world over there is all the continents basically are they have these continental plates under them. They are moving. So in India, there is a Indian subcontinent in plate which is moving from the south towards north, and in the north over Tibet and all is the uh, another plate. So this plate is hitting that, and there the Himalayas have come up, the mountains, and so this has happened over million of years, you know. So, but this is moving very slowly, maybe a few millimeters in 100 years. But then this much, so much of pressure is put, so much of force, shear, so that once it slips or breaks, it causes a earthquake. So a large earthquake is of magnitude more than 6. Okay. Then if you look at it, focus. What is focus? Which is given here in our this thing. Uh, Focus is the energy is released as a focus. So the spot underneath the surface of the earth at which an earthquake originates is known as focus, which is the point lying on the ground surface vertically above the focus is known as the epicenter. Now you see the relationship between focus and epicenter. Where the earthquake takes place, the earthquake could be 10 kilometers deep, it could be more or less. So that is the focus where the earthquake takes place. So that means the energy is released at that plate. And on the surface of the earth, on the ground where we are, so on the right above the focus is the epicenter. That is the center of the earthquake. On the so and these focus could be the seismic shocks originate from there could be 50 kilometer or less. So they could be 10 kilometer or between 10 and 50. So up till 50 kilometer, they are called shallow focus earthquake. Otherwise, there are known as deep focus earthquake. So you get another term here, shallow and deep focus. Now, the energy released is released at the focus and creates earthquake and is a measure of a power of the earthquake. So this energy or the power is measured in terms of its magnitude. Uh, that is on a Richter scale. So I had covered yesterday what was Richter scale. And equivalent energy released by the explosion of so if you see the table below, it shows what is the Richter scale and how much energy on a equivalent it would be there. So that is again very interesting and important to know this.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your time.
Okay. So
Yeah.
this P waves, other things we had covered. So now these are the things you have to see. So tomorrow I
Sir,
hope you will be able to read these and then we can have a more interactive session. I hope you some important things you would have understood, and again we will meet tomorrow. So thank you very much. Okay, bye bye. We can close the session.